Good morning, guys. Now, as I said on a previous clip, this is all about the Auckland DHB and the NRHCC, the National Regional Health Coordination Centre, or Northern Regional Health Coordination Centre, NRHCC. Now, NRHCC are the ones that get private, non-for-profit contractors out to control these pop-up test sites and the testing areas, vaccination centres, well, at least in Auckland anyway. NRHCC really deals with disabled or minority groups, people with language barriers, those sorts of things. That's at least what you get if you go to the website. There's a phone number there to ring, but that of course takes you to Auckland DHB. It does not take you to NRHCC, and in fact NRHCC have no contact information whatsoever. In the last 2 months I've been trying. I managed to, by the previous videos you've seen, get a hold of a lady, Imogen, at the North Shore DHB. She took my complaint and then forwarded it through to the NRHCC, which got me nowhere. So after a month of waiting for that to happen, I then used their feedback form on NRHCC to see if that would work, which it did. So this is what I sent, and I sent this to Communications at Northland DHB, OIA at Northland DHB, NRHCC Liaison 2 at Waitemata DHB, Media at health.gov, Vanessa Neeson, who is the local chair of the local Massey Council. Reason I contacted her is because she's supposedly the one in charge of Massey Community Hub, so I thought she'd like to know, given she's the landlord, and how these people are using their site. And basically I set it off as a subject request for footage and accountability. Now this is all from being approached multiple times by people that are getting paid public money to go and do a job, but instead of dealing with obviously the huge amount of clients that never walk or go through their bloody premises, they all have a lot of time to sit around, fumble their fingers on their phones and do sweet all. So yeah, this is what I wrote for a start. Good morning. On the 18th of December 2021, I was gathering content for a story I was working on from the public sidewalk. Okay, now gathering content for a story I was working on. I wasn't working, alright, wasn't employed. It's something, and this becomes relevant in the responses. Outside 385 Donbuck Road, Massey Community Hub pop-up testing site. During my time there, I was approached and intimidated by 2 staff from Red Badge Security, stating untruths and threatening to call the police for lawful activity. I was also approached by a number of nurses and staff who again saw fit to lie and attempt to prevent me from what I was doing. One nurse, whose photo was attached, took video footage of me with her tablet device for approximately 2 minutes. Under the Official Information Act 1982, please supply a copy of this footage taken of myself by your staff member. She was informed at the time, and this is quite crucial because once they know that you're going to be making a request, they've got a duty to keep a hold of that footage. She was informed at the time I would be requiring a copy of her footage, as she was making a record of myself while acting in her official capacity, and that it would be unlawful for her to delete the footage, and that I would be making a request for this footage. I was also approached by what appeared to be a manager who chose to insult me verbally, to which I require redress. The same nurse that recorded me when driving rego plate number KLK151 then attempted to hit me with her car from behind when she was leaving, which was caught on multiple cameras. I can appreciate that you have taken statements from your staff working that day, which I also require copies of. Now you see, I got a response saying that they're going to be talking to all the people involved, suggesting that I contact the police in regards to the driving issue, which I'd already done 2 months beforehand. And what would you know? Do you think the police did anything about that? No. Why? Because I'm pretty sure they're too busy beating up lawful protesters in Wellington and demolishing thousands of dollars worth of property that wasn't theirs. But moving on, the behaviour of what I just saw on the 2nd of March, because today's the 3rd of March, what the behaviour I saw was absolutely appalling. And the only aggressive people there were the police. And if the police are going to be aggressive towards people, under Section 48 of the Crimes Act, you have a right to self-defence. If they start acting outside their scope or capacity, i.e. start decking people, they're no longer acting as police officers, just as Brad Flukie showed us when he was buying a bottle of rum. You have the right to defend yourself against unlawful actions. I'm amazed or shocked why people didn't start dragging the police through the line and arresting them. And as for Jacinda's little, oh, I'm very angry, my words can't be said on national TV, mine can. Go f*** yourself, Jacinda. If you got off your ass and go and spoken to those lawful abiding people, and according to your own cousin Andrew Costa, Jacinda, you turned around and you said, oh, they've been violent from the onset. And yet Andrew Costa, in his little lunchtime fucking press conference, he turned around and said, oh no, a couple of days ago the mood switched. Before then they were peaceful. So you and your cousin need to get your narratives right, okay? If you're going to try and be the one source of truth, I wouldn't be surprised seeing peaceful protesting hasn't worked, that you've just caused things to escalate to an unpeaceful option. So, yeah, you stick your head in the sand all day long, go and smoke your crack pipe, Jacinda. I'll put a little bit of footage in, just so everybody can be sure on that one.
Going to be completely biased. Perhaps it's the New Zealand media contingent that you should ask who's in the room. You know, I think for us it was a way of demonstrating what it looks like when you move just beyond measures like GDP. And so when we were making our decisions around how we allocated the country's resources, when you start looking beyond simple cost-benefit analysis and actually look at the cost benefit across human potential, then you start making record investments in things like homelessness and mental health and combating domestic violence and sexual violence. When we just applied an equation that looked at well-being and environmental well-being, then those are the natural outcomes, those are the natural decisions you make.
Would you consider ankle bracelets for people in self-isolation?
It was the first for us and we'll keep doing it.
And to the cop that decked that poor old bastard. Karma will see him right. Sorry, a little bit agitated by what I saw and how the New Zealand police behaved yesterday, and you know, all because Jacinda wants to duck away in the middle of the hours of the mornings and make bylaws to shut down whole streets, so then they can come in with heavy-handed tactics and incite a riot, which is what she did by doing that, and what the police did. Moving on. Appreciate your stuff within that day, which I also require copies of. I also require the name of the staff member you have referred to the police. Yes, because they said they had referred that staff member to the police, the one that was doing the driving. So, you know, fingers crossed, I hope she got fucking canned. So much for a nurse do no harm, but, you know, swerving in, blasting your horn behind camera guys that are standing on a sidewalk. that could have gone very badly. Member referred to police as although I too reported her attempted vehicular assault to Henderson Police, I wish to file legal proceedings against her for her unacceptable behaviour. As I have exhausted attempts to contact NRHCC, given your website supplies a phone number, several of your customer service representatives on the phone could not find one simple contact for NRHCC. Imogen Stone of Auckland DHB did take my complaint prior to Christmas. However, she also informed me that she cannot supply any contact details to address NRHCC directly. Should I not be supplied what is required, I will return to Massey Community Hub to seek answers and redress personally. Hopefully your staff will act in a more professional manner during my next visit, seeking information, and all will be recorded, as you could probably presume, for my own personal safety and for your accountability, given your lack of transparency and appear to be protected from any direct communications via Auckland DHB. Given Imogen's last response to me, the police have also been informed I will be returning. And again, it's already up on the channel. All of that conversations, they're all there. When I say something, I have always got the facts to back it. Why is it that only now you have developed information? So my initial complaint I got back, they said that they'd reported the nurse to the police, that they're going to be taking statements from everyone, and that they are now going to make sure that there was developed information around public photography and how the staff were supposed to act. Okay. Developed information and support for testing centre staff on the rights of media and public recording and photography. Should this not have been done prior to launching such sites, given the numerous times they have appeared on mainstream media reports? Okay. From the 2nd of March, the COVID wrap-up, 19,000 or 22,000 cases of Omicron. Oh my God, people are getting the flu. I mean, you see that. They are constantly showing footages of testing sites, right up in there taking photos. I didn't even go on the property. Alright, which I believe Wilson's is making a packet out of, because it's just a car park, So, anyway, you have 20 working days to supply the footage taken of myself by your reckless staff member, and as Imogen suggested, using your feedback form for contact, I shall use that option also. However, I do not expect a response from such, given it took a month and numerous chase-ups to finally receive a response, which is the one I was talking about. I will also be visiting other pop-up testing sites to ensure your staff behave appropriately.
Is there a reason why you're videoing our staff?
Yeah.
Yeah? Why is that?
There is a reason.
There is a reason?
Yeah, because I can. It's not against the law.
It's not against the law, but is there a reason why we've got no clients in here, so you're just videoing our staff?
I'm videoing the site.
What for?
Because I wish to.
What are you videoing the site for?
Because I wish to.
You wish to?
Yeah.
It's a boring video.
Not when people like you come up and question why I'm doing a perfectly legal activity in a public place.
We're videoing our staff.
So?
They can come to work without getting video.
They get filmed a lot.
They don't get filmed a lot. We always question people that come and video the staff.
Okay, and you're welcome to question.
And they also give permission when they get it.
Permission's not required. Permission's not required. Are you part of the NRHCC?
No, but they run this site, so I can get
Do they?
from the NRHCC page.
I would love to talk to someone from the NRHCC because I've been trying for months since one of your last nurses tried to run me over at the Massey Community Hub. Henderson's next. And if not, held accountable. So we shall see how well the information you have developed for your staff has stuck. I also note that you have not addressed your foul-mouthed manager who stated he could smell shit from my mouth. So perhaps he can answer my questions directly, as NRHCC have proven difficult to even find a phone number for contact. Further publications regarding the difficulties trying to contact and seek redress from NRHCC will be published on multiple platforms soon. Now, how you wish to be portrayed is up to your response. However, it is not looking very favourable this far for NRHCC. Warmest regards, me, PINAC NZ, and Justice We Trust. Just a couple of my YouTube sites, along with other platforms. Alright, so I sent that. What I got from, I received from Sue French of Waitemata DHB on behalf of NRHCC Liaison 2. All these emails are here if you wish to contact them. Kia ora Mark, this email is to acknowledge your inquiry and request for more information which we have received today. We attached the email from the 18th of January for your reference with apologies, and the email from the 18th of January is the one I just read you. With apologies for the delay in responding to you whilst we carried out inquiries. We will be in touch in due course with responses to your questions and requests for further information. Regards, Primary Care Testing Team. No, regards Sue French, because she's the one that sent it. These people are so scared of any reverse liability coming back at them, they never ever sign it. And that's a way of protecting themselves. It's exactly the same way as, say, if Judge Timothy Dickface fucking Black wants to keep himself away from, immune from liability, he just goes Tim Black. But instead of writing Tim, it's a T. So if you only just put your first initials followed by your full last name, you're absolved from it. When you're filing documents, don't file Mark Donald Eric Keane. No, it's going to be MDE Keane, because they have no jurisdiction over someone with just using their initials, and it's exactly the same trick that judges use. So Tim, you can stick that in your pipe with Jacinda and smoke that too, because I've been listening to how you've been behaving, Timmy. It's shocking. You've really dug yourself a big hole down in Wellington, haven't you, dickhead? Yeah, contempt of court, you can stick that right up your ass, Tim Black. Rightio. No, I don't have a lot of love for the justice system. Yeah, what I did is I got an email from Bruce Northey, okay? And this is from Bruce. My first steps have been to seek comment for those involved. When those responses are received, I will be able to respond to the details of your issues. I expect this to be a matter of days. Remember this, days rather than weeks. In the interim, you note that you were gathering content for a story working from the public sidewalk. No, I was gathering content for a story I was working on from the public sidewalk. So nice try and trying to make it sound like I was working there, Brucey. Why is it that only now NRHCC have developed information and support for testing centre staff on the rights of media and the public on recording and photography? You will also be visiting other pop-up testing sites to ensure staff behave appropriately and, if not, held accountable. Again, I see no issue with any of this so far. Further publications regarding the difficulties trying to contact and seek redress from NRHCC will be published on multiple platforms soon. Again, yes, I said that too. None of which is unlawful or rude in any way, shape or form. I'm just letting them know. These comments would suggest that your actions at these sites, including the collection of any personal information, is not for the purpose of or in connection with the individual's personal or domestic affairs. So what he's trying to do is trying to say that myself as an individual filming on a public sidewalk, that I'm supposedly bound by the Privacy Act 2020, and he's stating section 27 of the Privacy Act there, but for the purpose of publication. Yep, well, me doing that on a sidewalk doesn't matter. As far as your Privacy Act is concerned, you might want to look at the IPPs, which is the Information Privacy Principles, because none of them apply to individuals. The Privacy Act applies to corporations, businesses, agencies, departments of government. They do not apply to individuals. But this is Bruce Northey. This is his response. His first response to me was to accuse me, the victim of their fucking terrible behaviour, was to accuse me of breaching the Privacy Act. What a real class act this guy is. And Bruce Northey, you know, he's had dealings with Jamie Lockett. You see, like, they were writing things like Jamie was a meth user. He's never ever touched meth in his life. But they wrote all this shit down on his medical records, and this was back 2019, 2018. Jamie tried for ages for them to correct those records because it was all untrue, because it was all suspicion, without any facts. No blood test, no proof whatsoever, but they labelled him a meth addict. So he tried for ages to get them to correct the medical records. They didn't. And they set this fucking githead, Bruce Northey, to deal with him too. So yeah, when I just searched my emails, Jamie's emails, because he CC'd me into those as well. So Bruce, you showed up a bit in my fucking email history. Where were we? Accordingly, your collection of any personal information. What personal information was I collecting? They were all wearing fucking ritualistic shame muzzles over their face, so couldn't quite get out their personal likeness, could I? No one identified themselves. There was no personal information available anywhere. So what personal information? Now he says, for example, photographs or videos of staff. That's not personal information. Mainstream seems to post it up there every fucking night, all night, to keep the fear going of the narrative of COVID's going to kill you. So yeah, go and have a bitch to the mainstream media. That's right, they've been paid out. Done in a manner that is videos of stuff must be done in a manner that is compliant with the Privacy Act. Again, doesn't apply to me. You would think a lawyer that's been in the bar for such a long time, 1975 he was admitted to the bar, you'd think a lawyer of some 47 years would have a fucking brain in his head and understand that the Privacy Act does not apply to individuals. But that's alright, because I'm not the average Joe Blogs, and I make sure I point this out to the dickhead. Anyway, and that was from Bruce Northey, General Counsel, Legal Services. His mobile is 021 938 104, bnorthey@adhb.govt.nz. Yes, he'll be getting sent a link of this. So f*** you, Bruce Northey. Because you've just proven yourself to be a completely incompetent fucktard. And the reason they do this is to keep the emails going backwards and forwards, to keep his money coming in, because each time they respond they get to charge out more fucking hundreds of dollars. So it's just a way of them being vague and as thick as a 2-bob watch and accuse you of doing what they're doing. It's all just a tactic so he can keep earning money. So yeah, moving on. And that's at Auckland District Health Board, Level 2, Building 16 at Green Lane Clinical Centre. So he hangs out in Green Lane. Perhaps I should stop in and say hi. Right, this was my response to Brucey. 1. I am uncertain what comments you are seeking from myself. Please explain. So he wanted me to make comments straight away. Well, can he not read the complaint? 2. Bruce, could you please inform me as to if you are legally trained to interpret legislation correctly? That's a fair question. Why? Because Brucey is incorrectly interpreting legislation. He thinks the Privacy Act applies to me. It doesn't. So, Bruce. 3. Bruce, is it normal practice for yourself in your first contact with an individual to allege they have breached legislation? Is it? 4. Could you please inform me as to what personal information you allege I have gathered? Again, what personal information? You'll realise in the responses that this prick was making all of these supposed allegations unfoundedly. 5. Was the alleged personal information gathered from a public place? Fair question. 6. Who is responsible for ensuring individuals' private and personal information is not viewable to the general public? Because I know it's not me. And if other people's personal information was viewable to any of the public, like your sign-in registers and shit, then they have a right to photograph it because it's in public view. You cannot trespass the eyes, and there's no expectation of privacy in public. So, for those that are asking, can we, if they can see a list of registrars, can we photograph it? Well, yes, of course you can, because it's your right to under Section 14 of the Bill of Rights. They can end up getting a $20,000 fine for not protecting their patron or client's personal information. They are the ones that get on the hook, not us. 7. Have you watched the video showing the interactions where various NRHCC staff and Red Badge security approached me on the public sidewalk seeking my personal information? Here is a link to one platform of many that has the interactions published on, and I sent him a YouTube link. You may note that there are now several publications relating to this matter publicly available on multiple platforms for maximum accountability and transparency. So there you go, you can note that, seeing you like to point out what I note, you can note that, Bruce. 8. Please explain what expectation of privacy anyone has from a public place. Waiting for that one, Bruce. Oh, that's right, there isn't any. Why? Because you're a thick as fucking touche Bob Watch, mate. I can see why people get aggravated and sometimes assault people because of their ignorance and stupidity, especially when they're supposedly representing a government organisation. 9. Are you aware that alleging that I have done precisely what the nurse that attempted to run me over when leaving did? Yeah. 10. Is there a direct contact number or person you could supply for the NRHCC that may have more of a degree of oversight over their actions than yourself? Because, see, he initially said he had limited scope to deal with this matter. Alright? 11. Are you aware that the woman's behaviour while driving KLK 151 has been reported to the police? 12. Are you aware that Red Badge Security stated that it would be against the law for myself to publish my content on social media, even though Red Badge Security published a video of that site on their social media? Just doesn't get any fucking funnier, does it? 13. Perhaps you are aware that Red Badge Security has a video of Massey community testing site featuring Tess, the nurse, and Sam, the Red Badge Security fucking Ontalompa, published publicly on Red Badge Facebook page the very thing they stated was illegal. 14. What personal information can be obtained from a photograph? Well, depends if you've got your registers out. Lots of personal information can be taken from that photograph. But then, I wasn't photographing private personal information. Was I? Bruce. 16. What advice are you seeking from me? Read your email. Because he was seeking advice. Well, I don't give out fucking advice. Unsolicited legal advice like some people like Bruce do. No, I don't give out that. 17. Are you aware that information privacy principles relating to the Privacy Act 2020 are not applicable to individuals? 18. Possibly you may be aware of the New Zealand Bill of Rights Act, Section 14, which affirms everyone's freedom and right to seek, receive and impart information and opinions of any kind in any form. Come on, you've been in law for 47 years, Bruce. Are you aware of that one? 19. Could you inform me, am I obliged to answer any of your questions, or make comment, or supply advice? And to avoid playing 20 questions, I will leave it there with 19. If that's not too much. Whoops. that was another question. That's 20, bugger. Warmest regards and have a fantastic day, Bruce and Sue. And that is again from me.